Alafu washenzi wengine wanasema ati Kasongo Ruto must go. Kuma nina zenu hao ambao wanasema hivyo. Kwani amekaa kwa kiti ya mama yako ama baba yako? Amekaa kwa kiti yetu sisi na tutamchagua, tutamrudisha with 99% from the Eastern Province, Upper Eastern, wafugaji wote, na nyinyi mtaniahidi mtanipa mimi 99% ama 100%. Mtanipa ngapi? Mtanipa ngapi?
Every statement you make and everything you do has consequences. In Kenya today, politicians are running left, right, and center, making statements and doing things that in the end will have consequences. Today, we want to look at the impact of the Ruto's reactions or response to the Gen Z and the critics of the government.
Tumekuja kusindua maneno ya maji. Si mnajua wale wakora wa mtandao kule Nairobi? Wanapiga kelele wanasema sijui Ruto must go sijui nini. So mlisikia niliambia hawa jana. Waruke juu, waende chini, waende kando. Hakuna penye Ruto anaenda. Ama ni aje?
How are you, my good brother?
Oh, thank you so much, Kwach. This is Owuoth Kabok. Once again, welcome to Turning the Mirror podcast. This is the hot seat where you get the perspective that you don't see any other place. And today, the topic that we have today is about the reaction between the government and the youths of Kenya. You know, recently, back in 2024, during the June protest, we realized these young men were out to protest against the government's maybe taxation, and when we saw at first when the government reacted by doing maybe the killing of persons like
Rex Masai,
yeah, we realized when the youths turned out to maybe again react against the government action, you realize they were out in masses. They even got into the parliament, and it has been something that is happening. And even today, recently, we saw the abductions, and also the youths have been out to express themselves through social media, maybe engaging in digital activism, and using AI and the cartoons and the images. And right now we see the government reacting. Yeah. Kindly speak about how do you see the government reacting? What are they doing to cut or maybe to defend themselves, or maybe to react of what the youths are doing?
Very true. Actually, you are very right when you say that the protests in June started slowly, and then what made it escalate is the killing of the likes of Rex Masai and the likes of Denzel and many more young people, others known, others not known. Then this escalated, and then people came out in masses and even stormed parliament. So that was the reaction of the people after the government reacted to what they started slowly as they were criticizing government and came out to demonstrate against the finance bill of 2024, among other government excesses. Today, we've seen now the youths again have started mobilizing themselves on social media, because initially they started mobilizing themselves on social media, and then the politicians took it as a joke. Actually, they even said there's no revolution that has ever started, or there's no revolution done on social media platforms. And they then saw this came to pass, and things worked. So after the June protests and whatever has happened later, we now see youths have devised new ways. They are making cartoons, silhouettes, they are making they're using AI technology to even put some of these politicians in coffins and graves. With that, the government has reacted differently. We've had the president talk to Kenyans and actually talk directly to the parents, claiming that the parents are not playing their role well, and therefore the children or their children who are now the Gen Zs and millennials are in discipline. We've also seen the likes of Farah Maalim, the MP of Dadab, actually someone who has been Speaker of the National Assembly between the period 2008-2013, and has been in the political arena for over 20 years as a member of parliament. We've seen this guy today call us names. He referred to the young men and women who are criticizing the regime, and actually I don't even want to use that term. Yeah,
So,
that is the first video we've just played before starting this podcast. And we've seen him calling us names, and then after that he goes ahead to tell us that since independence for the past 62 years, no government has ever been so productive within 2 years like Ruto's government. And therefore Ruto should win a Nobel Peace Prize. So we are wondering whether Ruto is winning a Nobel Peace Prize for abducting Kenyans, for torturing Kenyans, or for the excesses he's doing. We've also seen Oscar Sudi tell us that whether hata tufanye nini, turuke juu, tukuje chini, tuende wapi, Ruto is going nowhere.
Oh, do you actually think the reaction of the government against the young men is really on point? Because, you know, the youths of Kenya, you know, the population of youth across Africa, Kenya included, is over 70% of the population.
Yeah.
You realize these people are expressing their dissatisfaction and they are demanding for accountability from the government, because the situation of our country today, a lot of youths, we have graduates, those who have different skills, but they don't really have opportunities that they can all at least get, and maybe get a job opportunities, get employment, so that they can buy or maybe cater for their daily needs.
Yeah.
Even in the education system today, most of our young men are still in school, universities, and the system is really not working. The universities are going bankrupt, and the education is not picking the way it should really be. So the big question is, does the government really react in the right way? Is the reaction really going to be productive, or is it answering the need of the youths?
The answer is a very big no.
Yeah.
Because look at Farah Maalim, for example. He today told us that the education system is working, the universities are okay, the health system is working. When in real sense, if you come to the ground, things are different. Look at Kimani Ichung'wah. He's telling us, because they were in Gishu today, and they ferried people to that place so that they could fill the place in fear that people would not turn out, and this is the president's staff. You see? And he's now telling people that wanatuambia ati hauwezi kuja kwa ground. Hii sio ground, ama hii ni nini? Wanafikiria hii ni wapi? And you see all these reactions from the government, from Ruto himself, and even those his allies, are just making Kenyans more angry. Yeah? They're just making Kenyans more angry. Because if you're in a university, the funding model is not working. The lecturers are always out of school demonstrating. Yeah? They are on strike. When you go to the health system, we have the shisha, which is also not working. And then somebody comes and tells you that whatever you are saying out there is wrong, because from the point of view where I sit, it is working. This person makes you look like a fool.
Yeah, sure.
And therefore, all these things are just making Kenyans get more angry.
Oh, sure.
If you are being told that you are in discipline, when in real sense, if you look like at the CSS like Joho, MPs like Sudi, and even Ruto himself, look at them while on top of the vehicles campaigning, the statements they use, the sentiments they make, and then come back to now the youths, the young people, and even the older generation who are fed up with this regime, who are criticizing the government, and then compare the notes, what these people are saying and what those guys were using when campaigning, and then look at who is now indisciplined, who has lost direction, and who is not making sense.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
You know, back in 2024, during the protest against the punitive finance bill, you know, we saw the young people, the youth of Kenya, especially the Gen Zs and the millennials, they got into the streets, and it was something that was just looking as light as it was, but the government reacted by doing the brutality by the police, and we saw what happened afterwards. And now this is also a situation where the government is also reacting, and we see he's only worsening the situation. They doesn't really understand the need, and they're not up to answering what the youths are demanding for. And what do we expect next? For example, they did it then, and now they're again doing it today. Do you expect that the youths are going to get mad again and get to the streets, or what will they do with the technology, with social media? What do we expect?
All I can say is that all dogs don't learn new tricks. The government is using the very, very tricks that were used by Moi's regime. abductions. You see, they are trying to use abductions to silence the critics. Of course, they are managing because some of those they abduct come back silenced and very much afraid of them, and so they keep off social media. Other accounts are disabled. But some of these guys are abducted but still come back even stronger than before. And you see, Kenyans are so many. You can't abduct all of them. So the more they abduct, and you see even the other day Kenyans threatened to go out, and of course they were going out just to demand the release of the Kenyans who abducted. Of course, some of them have not yet been found. But they released these people the same day. Yeah? So I am seeing a possible mass protest, a bigger one, that has never been seen in Kenya before. Because we have both older generation and the younger generation now up for this thing. We even have those who are supporting this government who are now fed up with it. Look at someone like our good comrade Kibet Bull. You know, this is someone who supported this government when it was coming to power. But then later, because of the excesses and the wrongdoings of this government, he turned. And because he's a good citizen, like other comrades, they started fighting against the excesses of the government. And so we have both those who are supporting the government and those who are out then combined. And we are going to see a very big protest that will see Ruto out of office.
Yeah, sure. And do you think the government is really prepared for what might be coming next? Because you see, maybe when you talk about the mass protest, you know, the president of Kenya, William Ruto, he has been running across the country trying to get allies that can get along with him. The opposition, the ODM party is already in his basket. He's trying to look into these other parties which have different influence in different regions in Kenya. So he's trying to get them, at least he quench maybe the protest or maybe what can come afterwards. And again, we also know we are heading to 2027 when and now people are starting to think politics. And again, when you look at social media, you know, it is something that is not controlled by Kenya, and it is an open space that people can express themselves freely. And also the advancement of technology like the AI, you know, even not just in Kenya, you know, if in advanced countries like the US, you see that people are even generating videos and voices that really are like the real persons, and even the people who are known to be big men, leaders of governments, they are generating sounds that can even pass misinformation. So do you really think the government can manage it when it comes in its excess in the country, or the government will fall out?
The fact is, during the first protests in June, Raila saved the situation. Raila saved Ruto.
Okay.
In as much as he was called upon and told to keep off the protests. So this second wave that is coming, not even Raila, nobody in Kenya will be able to control that wave. And remember, the Ruto who came out when Parliament was stormed and talked to Kenyans calling us criminals, that is Ruto. Not the one who we see on top of vehicles trying to talk to us, trying to get allies. Remember, one funny thing with this government is, even those people thought were pro-people, the moment they join the government, it's like the moment you just join that government, your brain abandons you. So you start speaking like somebody who doesn't even have brain. So I don't see the government managing to contain what is coming ahead.
And what is your advice to the government? Do you advise the government to be very keen and careful that things might burn down, or you just maybe advise it to keep just getting the direction it's moving and wait for the worst to come?
My advice is simple, because Kenyans, it's like Kenyans have decided it's either bullet
or the ballot.
Or the ballot.
Yeah.
And then again, the ballot will not be the option, because if these are the very people who makes the IBC, then the ballot will not be the option.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, our audience. And that is what we had for you today. Kindly like, subscribe to this channel, and keep tuning in to Turning the Mirror podcast. Welcome next time. Thank you.
Walengo Kwach says, William Ruto resign and dissolve the government.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.